Yeah, we back. Yeah, we back. Now, today we're going to be talking about what does the Donald Trump presidency mean for the African continent, right? Now, generally speaking, like I mentioned before, both the Democrats and the Republicans, they might fight domestically, right? You know, when it comes to inside the country, you know, they're mortal enemies. But when it comes to foreign policy, for the most part, they're both in agreement in the fact that they want to uphold and defend American national, economic, geopolitical, and military interests. They might go about it in different ways, but for the most part, they're trying to head to the same destination. So that's first things first. That's what we have to first understand, right? One party might be more hands-on than the other, but at the end of the day, both parties are still willing to kill and commit violence to achieve their goals. And I only say that because I see some people kind of getting excited that Trump is in office. Like, man, you know, we finally gonna have some flexibility and room to breathe. And I'm like, you know, don't get too excited now. They still want them critical minerals. You know what I'm saying? They still need them critical minerals. Now, let's take a look at what some of the Western media is talking about in regards to what Trump's foreign policy in Africa could look like. And we're going to talk about it. Take a look up on the screen. There are often few major material differences between the Republicans and the Democrats on U.S. Africa policy. But conservatives have been openly critical of what they have called a preachy approach by President Biden in championing so-called culture issues such as support for LGBT rather than focusing on trade and business. I think there'll be a more pragmatic interest-based approach to the continent with less emphasis on preaching, but also less on democracy and human rights. Now, I see a lot of continental Africans that are excited about the Trump presidency, mainly because of this reason right here. When the Democrats are in office, for whatever reason, I don't know why, but instead of coming to the table and talking big business, instead of coming to the table and talking economics, instead of coming to the table and talking about money, they're talking about, you know, the black man wearing panties and things like that. They want the black man to be wearing, you know, sundresses, and they want the black man to be wearing a lace front. And then, you know, the black man coming to the table talking about, listen, bro, I'm trying to talk about money. I'm trying to talk about infrastructure, economics. I'm talking about, you know, cooperation. And then, you know, the Americans talking about, yeah, I know, but, you know, I really want to talk about having an LGBT parade in the Capitol this Christmas. And it's like, bro, what are we even talking about here? And that has been a constant source of contention between continental African men and the white Democratic liberal, right? Now, one advantage the Republicans have is when they come to the negotiation table, they want to talk about business. They want to talk about economics. They want to talk about profits. They want to talk about something productive. They don't really have an interest in trying to influence the cultural fabric of your nation. In comparison to the Democrats, where they add conditions to whatever business they do with you. So if you strike up a deal with the Democrats, they might add a condition to the deal that says part of this money has to go to some LGBT groups in the country, right? You know, you got to put some money to the side for the LGBT advocacy, or you got to throw an LGBT parade in the Capitol next year, or you got to start promoting LGBT in the media. Now, like I said, it don't got nothing to do with the economics. You could be signing a deal to fucking build a railroad, and they'll be like, nigga, we need to throw a pride parade next year. I'm like, bro, what the fuck? So that's where the Democrats, that's why the Republicans have the advantage, because when they come to the table, they only care about business. They only want to talk about business. So that's the advantage they have when it comes to foreign policy over the Democrats. Now, let's continue. One key focus of this transactional approach will be on starting to lock down supply chains for critical minerals in Africa used for green energy batteries used in electric vehicles and phones. There is no denying that access to the many critical minerals that Africa has in great abundance is needed for America's economy today, as well as for the technologies that will lead us into the future. I repeat, there is no denying that access to the many critical minerals that Africa has in great abundance is needed for America's economy today, as well as for the technology that will lead us into the future. Now, that reminds me of a video I did about Celeste Wallander, a high-ranking U.S. diplomat who said something very similar to what is being said in this article, right? Where she said, our African partnerships are critical for us to maintain technological, economic, and geopolitical dominance now and well into the future. And that's the reality. And that reality does not change whether the Democrats or the conservatives are in office. So just because Trump is in office, that doesn't mean that the United States doesn't need that cobalt or that lithium or that nickel or whatever critical minerals they talking about. Yeah, they still need that. Yeah, they still want that. So yeah, it's true. Trump might be focused on other areas in the world, other regions in the world that might be ravaged by war, but don't get it twisted. His administration, the members on his team, they still going to be in the back of their mind. They still going to be thinking about Africa in the back of their mind. They still going to be thinking about them African supply chains in the back of their mind. But here's where it gets interesting. Now, I appreciate the honesty in this article, right? When the individual said that access to the critical minerals in Africa is needed for America's economy, because they basically told us that the black man is sitting on the resources that the world's most powerful economies depend on. They've been saying this shit a lot these past couple years. General Langley, Celeste Wallander. Now this guy right here, who's this guy? Ambassador J. Peter Pham, the former U.S. Special Envoy for the Sahel. These are high-ranking U.S. officials that basically saying, listen, we need what the black man has. The black man got what we need. And if we don't got it, our economies are going to fucking die. So you got to understand the leverage and influence that you have when it comes to international geopolitical affairs. I mean, I don't know how many times the white man got to say it, bro. At the end of the day, the white man's economic survival in the 21st century depends on the black man's resources. End of discussion. They've been saying it straight in your face for the past few years, man. Just to give you an example of the leverage the black man has, I might do a video on this at another time, but take a look up on the screen. Australian gold mining CEO and executives arrested in Mali. The detention comes amid tensions over mining revenue from the industry. So like I mentioned before, I did videos on this in the past couple of weeks, but the military government in Mali just been going around arresting executives of gold mining companies, and as they negotiate for better terms and better profit splits. And take a look up on the screen. Resolute Mining shares have slumped as the Mali military government holds the CEO and the staff in custody. Australian gold miner Resolute Mining shares have witnessed a 32% drop on Monday following the arrest of 3 of its employees, including the CEO, Terence Holohan, by the Malian government officials. Take a look up on the screen. Resolute Mining loses $500 million after the military government arrests the CEO in West Africa. The tax dispute that prompted the West African military government to detain 3 Resolute Mining executives has wiped almost $500 million from the Australian headquartered gold miners' market value. That's what happens when the black man asserts his authority, when the black man asserts his sovereignty. The white man loses $500 million in a fucking day. So this narrative that we've been sold since we were children, that Africa is powerless, that Africa has no leverage, that Africa is at the mercy of foreign powers, that is far from the truth, man. The reality is the so-called world powers, they're the ones that need what the black man has in order to maintain their survival. They're the ones coming to the black man with their hat in their hand, please, Mr. Black Man, please. You know what I'm saying? So that's the reality of the matter. And that's how we should conduct our relationship with them if we truly understood the power that we had. We don't got to fire a single shot. We don't got to launch a single missile. We just have to make one decision with the stroke of a pen and watch the white man go broke. So that goes to show, if a single decision made by the Malian military government can cause such a massive financial loss for a multinational corporation, imagine the impact the black man could have if we acted collectively to assert our sovereignty. Man, listen, it would be a wrap, man. It would be a wrap very quickly. Now, let's continue. In particular, conservatives have called out what they see as the mishandling of relationships in West Africa's Sahel region after a series of military coups between 2021 and 2023 in Guinea, Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. There will be more skepticism under Trump as to how publicly berating our partners just hurts our relationships with those countries. Now, in that section of the article, they criticize how the Democrats handled the situation in the Sahel with Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. As you already know, they've moved away from the Western powers and decided to diversify their partnerships. And I noticed a very diplomatic and respectful tone in this article, right? As compared to the Democrats, where, like they even said in the article, there'll be more skepticism under Trump as to whether publicly berating our partners hurts our relationships with them. And I believe that's referring to how the United States actually lost a $100 million drone base in Niger sometime last year. If you remember, earlier in the year, I think back in March, take a look up on the screen. Niger orders the departure of American troops. The military government in Niger has ordered American troops to leave the country in a major setback to U.S. military operations in Africa. 6 years ago, the United States built a $110 million drone base in northern Niger. The United States had about 1,000 troops in the West African nation. The announcement comes months after France was forced to pull its troops from Niger as well. Now, the reason why the Americans were told to kick rocks is because the Biden administration had sent a delegation to sit at the table and negotiate with the brothers, basically to, talk cooperation, military cooperation, things like that. And apparently there was some disrespect that occurred during the negotiation, right? Apparently the American delegation was rather disrespectful. And ironically, Joe Biden has sent a black man to lead the delegation, to lead the negotiation. And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how you look at it, the negotiation was not successful. And towards the end of the meeting, the brothers in Niger told the Americans, it's time to go back to your country. You know, it's time to kick rocks. And I believe that sent a resounding message at the State Department, basically letting them know that you're going to respect the black man or it's time to go. You're going to respect the black man or we're going to kick you out. You're going to respect the black man or we're going to show you the door. And obviously they heard that message loud and clear because, like I said in the article, I repeat, they said there'll be more skepticism under Trump as to how publicly berating our partners just hurts our relationships with them. So listen, man, the black man demanded his respect and they heard us loud and clear at the State Department. And when I see that statement, when I see them say that statement, to me, that means that they want to get back in the black man's good graces. Because like I said before, their economic survival depends on having good relations with the black man. If they don't have good relations with the black man, their economic survival is in jeopardy. So as you can see, the white man taking a more humble approach, right? Getting on his knees, trying to rebuild the bridges that they burned. You feel me? Because they understand their economic interest in Africa is way too critical to lose, man. They know the black man's resources, the black man's land, the black man's cooperation. They know without that, they're not going to be able to maintain their global economic influence or their economic prosperity. And that's a fact. Now, let's continue. Take a look up on the screen. Will Trump offer support to African countries in an attempt to push Russia out? Even though the national security architecture in the United States perceives Russia as a threat, Trump personally has not acted as if he perceives Russia as a threat. Now, I've always been of this belief, but one of the major mistakes that Democrats made was trying to control who African nations are permitted to talk to or do business with, right? For example, if you, as an African nation, decided to open negotiations with another sovereign nation who the United States deems as an adversary, like Iran or Russia or whatever, they try to punish you as if you are a child who needs to be disciplined, right? But African nations are sovereign nations. And as a sovereign nation, you are allowed to talk to whoever you want to talk to. You are allowed to buy goods and services from whoever you want to buy goods and services from. You are allowed to diversify your partnerships to your heart's desire as a sovereign nation. And that's the advantage that other world powers have over the United States. For example, China is not going to punish you if you go talk to the United States, if you go talk to France. Russia is not going to punish you if you go talk to the Western powers. But how come the Western powers are going to punish you if you go talk to their adversaries? Why are you trying to dictate to me who I'm allowed to talk to on the phone, who I'm allowed to talk to in my personal free time? That's none of your fucking business. So one piece of advice I would give to Trump and his administration is to understand the reality of the matter. African nations should be free to form relationships with whoever they want, right? So if Mali, Burkina Faso, or Niger, they want to purchase drones from Russia, they have the right to do so. And on the flip side, if they want to buy weapons from the United States, then the United States should be open to selling them weapons. But here's the problem. The United States, they want to dictate or control who you're allowed to talk to, while at the same time refusing to sell you any weapons. That's what I don't get. So let me get this straight. You don't want me to talk to the other guy who is already willing to sell me weapons. He already got the weapons on deck, ready to go. I got the money in my hand, ready to go get them. But at the same time, you have weapons, but you refuse to sell them to me, right? So you refuse to sell me weapons, but you also don't want me to talk to anybody else who has weapons for sale. This is not good business, bro. And I think that's the piece of advice I would give to Trump, right? If you want to maintain superiority over Russia and China, then simply come to the table with a better deal. You don't got to play these games of trying to sanction me if I go talk to the other guy. Don't play them stupid games. Just come to the table with a better deal. If you want to do business with me, come to the table with a better deal than the other guy. That's it. Come to the table with the better negotiation, the better terms, the better prices, the better weapons, the better military technology. Just come to the table with the best price. Come to the table with the best deal. Stop trying to control who I talk to. Stop trying to control what I do. Just come to the table with the best negotiation and may the best man win. That is good business. And that's pretty much what I would say on this topic, man. But like I said, we have to wait and see when Trump gets into office and when he unveils his policy, his foreign policy in Africa. And then we'll see where they take it from there, right? At this point, we're just making predictions, man. So like I said, I gave my thoughts on the situation, but we gotta wait and see what he gonna do. Anyways, it's your boy Neferkari Salim back in the Billy. Yes, indeed. Cash App in the description. Support the channel, man. Support the album. Peace. Superpowers. They gon' be talking and tweeting about us. Stay to myself, I don't be around them. So introverted, I'm in the mountains. Making these hits and I'm money count. Wake up each morning, I'm feeling power. I'ma get money and make a shower. Shorty a diamond, she went to Howard. When I'm up in the booth, I got superpowers. Do it myself, but I'm feeling major. Don't hit me back when you need a favor. Back on my business like fuck a hater. Started my business like fuck a label. Work for myself and I'm never changing. Step in the game and I rearrange it. Chosen a call, I gotta take it. Put that shit on my life, we gotta make it. I done been before, I've been at the top. Been at the bottom, I've been having knots. Heart of a king like I'm up in Kemet. You talking about queens, I got me a lot. Energy ancient, came out of Nubia. Tell the invaders they better get props. Hop on the track, a nigga be schooling them. Now they be watching to see what I got. I'ma go call me a mansion. Apology given cause I'm breaking hearts. I know I'm too different to manage. She want my commitment, she want me involved, but I ain't conforming to standards. I'm trying to get rich, my vision imperial with a polygamous fashion. I'm trying to be living so lavish. Original man, they call it primordial. Play with a team, they planning memorials. Blessed with the game, I'm giving tutorials. Pain in my heart, it's feeling precordial. Bet they gon' fuck with the vision. I might go start a religion, I might go start a division. Call it the sovereign imperial secretive order. Taking it over the water, hopping on planes. I don't be up on the corner. I'ma be linking with bosses up in the office, in the executive quarters. I might